Okay, so the $1 million workshop that will get you to a solid and predictable business with unlimited scale potential, so you can constantly grow the business and have the same consistency and know what's going on without needing to use social media, which is a very key component here. So who will this work best for? The best results that we see are coaches that, first of all, are embodied. You know who you work with, you know who is your target, you know how you can help people, and you're embodied, which means you're not in the phase where you're facing this imposter syndrome and this growth process, but actually you embody what you teach so you can transfer it forwards.
And that means that you probably already worked with paid clients, one-on-one, or maybe retreats or workshops. We work with experienced coaches. That is our best, let's say, genius space when it comes to how we work. So it's for you who wants to be able to scale to 100,000 to 250,000. That's usually the space we are in with high ticket transformational programs.
Yeah. Now, if you love simplicity and tired of social media and you want a systematic way to get clients in without needing to constantly post and to constantly be in the thinking process, and instead be much more in the delivery, be much more in creating transformation for your clients. And maybe you feel like you're stuck in a loop, like you're stuck in this loop of needing to hustle, get a client, the client maybe goes through a transformation, leaves, and then more hustle, hustle. Now, after this workshop, what you will know is, first of all, why most coaches keep failing with the programs and failing with launching retreats, and how to solve that. What is the simple business roadmap that you can already execute and already implement in your business so you will see a steady and beautiful growth in your business? Now, that comes with how to consistently get people into your world and how to delete the social media apps so you don't need to base on faith in the algorithm, and you don't need to learn the new TikTok dances in order to find people who are actually curious to solve their problems so you can actually work in your genius zone.
And why this? Why are we doing this? Because I've been coaching more than 10 years and trained and coached different facilitators and experts. And what we see is that we are getting to a point where there's an interesting space for the coaching industry. The number of coaches doubled in the last 5 years. It's constantly growing. It's very exciting because more people are getting the support they need. But also it means that 81% of most coaches actually don't make it through their third year of practice, which is very sad. So this is something we want to change. It's a big part of why we do this work. And we don't want to compete with the AI. We don't want to compete with the big companies. We want to be able to enjoy life. We are really into lifestyle design, freedom of time, freedom of travel, freedom of abundance in income, creating the impact without sacrificing yourself. So this is why we created this method, so we can do it another way, which is much more simple.
Now, why are coaches not getting off the ground? What we see is that there's a massive waste of time with no clear plan of action. So social media, for example, or other techniques or ways to get people are not by building something solid. We create energy by posting, or we do some form of investment of energy that doesn't really stay after maybe a day or a week or a month. Whatever energy I invested doesn't really push me forwards anymore. So there's a lot of waste of energy there. Now, also, there's no real uniqueness. Even if you find the super interesting and super unique definition of how you are on social media and you put the colorful branding and everything, still the feeling that, shit, I look like so many others. There are so many others who do the same thing like me, and I'm searching, and it just, how can I be out there and how can I show that actually I know what I'm doing? How can I actually show that something is different in what I'm doing? And then that creates no ability to scale. So there are no real systems, there are no real method of how to scale this, how to create something that is systematically going forwards. And I think one of the reasons that coaches are struggling is that the traditional business marketing that are based on years of people learning marketing, creating landing pages, creating different copywriting techniques and different sales techniques and all of that, it just doesn't work with coaches It just doesn't work when we sell transformation, because you want to connect to your audience in a different way. You're not selling them now a new lawnmower or a new, something like a new pill to lose weight. You want them to trust you. So if you're becoming too pushy to sales, it's a big contradiction.
Yeah. And if you have heard of the expression bro marketing, if you're working with fertility awareness, if you're working with love manifestation, your audience is very connected to their soul, to their emotions, to their sensitivity. I know that Ellen works with Tantra as well. It's something that you cannot just push out the hard sales, the pushy, go and buy the ad. It's not the same communication. You lose yourself if you go into that too much. So we want to make sure that we stay aligned with who we truly are, and we can really show the world that this is me, this is my heart, my connection, my emotions, my values are represented in the way I do business.
Now, one thing before we start teaching here is to say you cannot buy anything at the end of this presentation. Okay, we're here to give, to serve you for the fullest, to serve you at the maximum. Then there's nothing to buy at the end. There's no link to buy something at the end.
First of all, we choose our clients. We really choose who we spend our time with. So there's no landing page that you can buy any of our programs either. There's really something about the community. We care for who is in the space and how we care for each other. So there's a both directional way that when we choose to work together. But even before that, it starts with making sure that in this 60 minutes, 75 minutes, we can work with you right now. And if there's anything that we haven't covered, that we can go deeper. So if you say, I want to go deeper on this question, then we can have that in the call. We can go a bit deeper into that conversation. So that is the intention of the call. Okay.
Now, who are we? What are we about?
Yeah. So first of all, I never had a normal corporate job. I started coaching and training when I was 21. I'm 36 now, and I've loved the industry. I love being in this space. I've done a lot of things around how do I kind of get my method together in different ways. It has been anything from online courses to group coaching programs to VIP coaching, TEDx talks, stages, a lot of workshops, a lot of retreats. I even wrote a book. I love, and Sheely's was a mastermind that we had together as well, where we work with women. I love this space of serving, and this is how I've gone through all these years. And today, because workshop has been one big part of my world, I really wanted to focus down on how we've done it.
Yeah, and some things that Daria didn't tell you is that she's given more than 300 workshops and she trained more than 10,000 people. By now, done 2 TEDx talks, endless talks, and pretty much the most knowledgeable person about high ticket sales and public speaking and positioning and all of that, which is super valuable when you're talking about how can you show yourself to the world in a way that you don't look like everyone else. And I have a different story. I came from a corporate background, actually. I was a programmer for Microsoft, and I realized that the corporate world is really not for me, and I don't feel like I'm fulfilling my potential. I enjoy working with people. I enjoy creating transformation, coaching, and I started a journey of creating businesses and coaching businesses. I reached, with one of the businesses, we sold 1,000 online courses in a year. And then I fell in love with low ticket offer sales, which is completely different than what Daria specializes with, which when we met and we started to form a business together, we had a lot of those tackles of, no, let's go low ticket. No, let's go super high ticket. And I know what I'm doing. 3 times in the last 5 years, I've reached 6-figure businesses in 1 year, which mean in different areas. And unfortunately, the first 2 ones were not aligned to what I want to do. And that, I think that's a big part of our journey also, is to align your business in a way that you enjoy it, in a way that you don't just create a trap of needing to do something that you don't enjoy anymore. So let's talk about the 3 shifts of how to create success in your business. There's 3 shifts that we want you to get out of this meeting with us here today of understanding. The first shift is how to stop being another coach, how to stop being another love coach or another fertility coach or another sales
Yoga
course
teacher.
or anything like that, another yoga teacher, and how to stand out in a different way. The second shift is how to stop using social media to get clients and instead to create your own 3-shift workshop. So this workshop is a little inception vibe. So we're presenting something that you will later do for your clients. You will create this 3-shift method, 3-shift workshop, and so on. And the third shift is how to create a real scale in your business, how to do things that are able to scale, and the energy that you put in doesn't get flowed with the river. Instead, the energy that you put in is like seeds to grow your business. And if you have a garden and you put the seeds in the garden, you know that you're going to start having plants and you're going to start having vegetables that you can later eat. It's not that if you have a garden and you know that every day the dogs come and they dig out the seeds that you put, you will probably stop putting seeds in that garden and you will see how to protect the garden better. And sometimes with what we're doing right now, or many coaches are, is a bit of this. I put a seed and I know the dogs will uncover the ground and poop in my garden, but I have no idea of how to shift that reality.
And when we talk about create real scale, the first level, so we have several levels in the business, how we see it is to get through this foundational initial phase where a lot of coaches get stuck, which is under 100,000 euros or $100,000. So 100,000 to 250,000, it's a stage when you start having stability to be able to have a team, to have ads, to take time off, to budget. So this is why we care about it. It's maybe you don't care so much about the money for yourself, but to create an impact without burning out, you need to go through this initial phase. So I would love to hear if you can just put 1, 2, or 3 in the chat. Which one is the most important for you right now?
What's the most exciting? How to become more presented as a uniqueness, or stop using social media and start working with workshops, or how to actually be able to scale in a way that is, you can take time off and things still run. You can move, the further away you move from actually doing things in the business, the more the business grows. Amazing. So I see 2, 3, 1.
Yeah, great.
Beautiful. All interesting. Let's dive into the first shift of how to stop being, quote, another coach. I want to tell you about my singing journey. In the last years, I started really enjoying singing. I was always playing piano and I started learning to sing. And I went to a singing lesson and then I went to another singing lesson. And after a few lessons with that singing teacher, I moved country. I started nomading. So I took another teacher from a different country. And then I realized, what if I try a different teacher? What if I try a different teacher? And I ended up now with 6 different singing teachers that I've been working with. And basically, I fired all of my previous teachers all the time. And the reason was there was nothing in what they did that felt to me like a journey. There was nothing that felt unique or special. And it's such a shame because each of those teachers had a different method. Each of those teachers had a different way of doing things, but they didn't know how to communicate it. They didn't know how to display it to me. So for me, it felt like it's getting boring, like I don't see where it is going. And if we conclude from this into your business and thinking of what is the problem for your clients by having, let's say, one-to-one sessions or packages of sessions, or if you just say, let's work together for 3 months on a group. If we work together for 3 months in a container together. And mainly, let's talk about the one-to-one or the one-to-one packages. The thing is, your clients don't really receive the deepest transformation. There is no journey for them to see, which means they don't know where they start. They don't know where they are going, really. And there is no real feeling of continuation and integration. And that's what I felt so many times, even with the more advanced singing teachers who are charging high ticket for a package. It just felt like every lesson is the same thing, and we're not really moving anywhere. We're not really looking from a higher perspective. And that just made me feel like, okay, they're all the same. I'm enjoying it. I am improving my voice, but there's no reason why I stay with Eddie and not go to Marka. Now, the problem for you with selling your time, basically, with doing sessions, with working with one-on-one clients, and in a way that every client that comes, you serve them in one way, we serve another client in another way, is to start with, you're limited in time. And you seem like all the other coaches. You coach someone for finding their love, maybe you sell sessions, maybe you do like a package, but it doesn't feel like something unique. It doesn't feel like if I go now to, okay, I don't want to ruin the solution, but moving forwards, the bigger problem is that you cannot scale. You're selling yourself. You're selling your time. You're selling your presence. So you cannot let go because no assets are being created. When you work one-on-one with people, you can't say, hey, I'm going to record this session now because it's going to be part of the program that I'm going to give on my next clients. You cannot see the combination of what all of the clients need and then create maybe a meditation for them or create some resource for them. And that means that nothing is really yours. Nothing really in the business is yours. Nothing of your knowledge is being created and staying and improving in this world. So you can't take time off. There's no real clarity to what you're going for. And your energy really starts to become all over the place. You feel busy and overwhelmed. And Daria, you've been for ages in this loop, right?
And you can go and go higher. You can go to earning 300,000 euros with or dollars with high ticket and tailor-made, because that's normally where you go for it. Okay, if I'm going to go higher, I'm going to make tailor-made for each person. But the problem with that is that you don't have any time to step back and say, let me work on my business. We usually promote, we have 4 days a week of work for us and for our clients. Nobody works on Fridays. We are not available on Fridays, and that's what we preach to them as well. So we create 4 days work weeks. When you have a business where your income is depending on one client to scale, and you want to create more tailor-made options because you want to create more income, you're getting into the solution where you create a golden cage for yourself. And I've seen many coaches doing that when they didn't think about how can I do that. And if you have too many different clients, some are, maybe I'm thinking of Rosie, if you have couples, if you have this type of, they all have different problem solutions. I don't know so much about your business, we'll get deeper into that, but imagine that you are working with different, we have one of our clients, she works with sexuality. If she would work with women and sexuality and trauma release, if she would work with men, and if she would work with couples, it would be so different. If she would work with mothers who have had kids and they are coming back to finding their body after 1 year, it's going to be so different. So when you're trying to tailor-make to everyone, it just feels like you're constantly thinking in your head, how can I create 50 different offers, even if you're offering one-on-one? So feel free to share if this is resonating, what we are sharing, if you're feeling that any of this is the situation where you are right now.
So how do we move on to solve this thing? The first concept that I want to talk about is combine your worlds. So if you work with yoga, for example, and you say, I'm a yoga teacher, that's a classic. Once you identify yourself as a yoga teacher, I don't know anymore what is the difference between you and all of the yoga teachers. If you work with something specific and you identify by that, let's say you're a breathwork instructor, or let's say you work with fertility, or any of those specifics, means that people don't really get you. They get a little subsection of you. They get a little slice of you. And instead, what I want to invite you is to think, what are all of your worlds? What are the different areas that you can work with people? And that can include other things than the main thing that you do. That can include the coaching itself. That can include maybe other things that you work with or other parts that you work with, that if I tell you, okay, which online courses you thinking of to create in the next 5 years, and you'll come up with 25 ideas, right? Because we all have loads of interests and loads of areas where we can help our clients. And then to find the sweet spot that is the combination between the different areas. The next thing, which is super impactful once you start understanding it deeply in how you sell your programs and how you sell your work, is to sell the outcome. And if you don't sell the outcome, you sell a session. If you don't sell the outcome, you sell an experience. You sell maybe something specific that is not really where I'm going towards or where I want to go towards. Once you start selling the outcome, people are excited to come to the sessions because they know where is the journey going. And I love this photo of the dinosaur. See it sitting in the middle of candles, which is how many times when I go to a workshop and I just feel like this dinosaur. I feel like, okay, there's all the candles, we do breath work, we go into trance, we go into some state where everything is beautiful, and then I go home. But there was no real intention of where we are going. Think ecstatic dance, for example. So many times you can go, okay, you can let go of stuff, but no transformation really is happening because there is no set intention of where we are going. So I want you to start thinking of how you can talk to your clients in terms of outcome. Talk to your clients in terms of what is the problem that you're solving for them.
So an example of that could be, for us, for instance, our specialty is to double the income for our members in 90 days with the workshops and high ticket transformational programs. That's our outcome. That's what we are really good at. And it happens over and over again. This is a specific outcome that we do with workshops. Now, if you don't have an outcome like that, now we are talking about more about business development, but if you don't have an outcome in yoga or fertility or in tantra or in love and manifestation, if there's not a specific thing that they can experience in a specific time in the cycle that they work with you, they will have a harder time actually seeing the return on investment. So if you're having a harder time to actually price a higher price and you want to go up in pricing and you want to be able to work with more premium clients, but they seem to say that it's too expensive or it's not the right time, sometimes and many times it has to do that with the actual outcome, that they are not seeing the real value, unfortunately.
So to sell the outcome, the best thing is, okay, you combined your worlds. What is the outcome? Now I want you to think of yourself as a guide leading your customers through a journey. And the beautiful thing is, once you lead them through a journey and the path is paved, you don't need to necessarily take one person. You can take a group of people through the same journey. And the magic happens when you start doing that, because then you're identified as the guide for that journey. You're identified as the person who takes them from A to B. And you're not anymore this another coach. You're the guide for this journey. And then you can start recording assets that take them from steps to the next steps in the journey. You can start creating resources and meditations and maybe checklists and maybe more and more things that make you this super expert in what you do. And when you talk about that journey, when you talk about that outcome, you simply give magical results to your people. And all that comes into creating your method. Once you start thinking of, I am creating a method by combining my worlds, seeing what is the outcome that I'm selling, what is the outcome that people come to me for, what is the journey that I'm leading them towards, that is your method then. And then you can start having real assets. You can start having trademarks on parts of your method. You can have people, raving fans, not saying, wow, I loved working with Annalise, she was so cool, but instead, wow, the 3-point method was exceptional. And Annalise doesn't have to be there to deliver it. It can be a support coach. It can be recordings. It can be a book. It can be a show. It can be so many magical expansions of that. And if you think there are so many methods that survived the time, and you can still go ahead and learn from those methods, such as the artist's way, unleash your power within, Bikram yoga, authentic relating, nonviolent communication, EFT tapping, Pilates, Wim Hof method. Let's look at Wim Hof. Even in his logo, there's 3 sections. There's the ice, there's the mind expansion, and there's the breathing part. So he combined those 3 into a method, the Wim Hof method. And you go to a seminar learning how to facilitate Wim Hof breath work, and he doesn't need to be there. And what is the outcome there?
And just for you to think, it might feel intimidating to think, wow, but I am not Wim Hof, or I am not Tony Robbins. But for you to be able to build and create a business that is in the 7 figures in the future, where you can step out and have the freedom to be able to create an impact without you having to be there, but still having so many great results for your clients, we put the first seeds. It starts with the seeds today of saying, I can see myself having a process. We can tell a word for method, which is process, or a framework, or it's a couple of pillars that you always take your clients through. It starts with the small, simple steps, but it can go to having a business where you are having your own trainers, you're having your own licenses. Like, this is really giving you the foundations for such a great expansion without you having to sacrifice yourself.
And coming back to where we started, then you really are not another coach anymore. I hope this starts to click. Give me a thumbs up if it starts to click, this different of how to see things. Yeah? All good until now? Thumbs up? Thumbs up? Great. Now, I want to share a bit of my piano journey. I love the music world, and I started nomading with a small piano, playing music with friends. And I had a piano teacher in Israel. And I told him, listen, y'all, you must create some online course so I can continue learning, and you really know how to teach, and please, like, to do something so this can be continued. And after a few months, I came back to Israel, and then eventually we joined forces and we started recording what was called the Piano Soul method for advanced piano teachers in Hebrew. And we created a whole method of it. We had real feeling of it's a company, and we just put logos, and we made it look nice, and we made beautiful landing pages, and we call it method. We didn't put his name. We didn't put anything that is too specific and feeling like another piano teacher. And the magic started to happen. It was shocking. What happened was that, first of all, we sold, here is one of the softwares that we use to track our sales. As you can see, 147,000 Israeli shekels, which is almost 40,000 euros from online touchless courses, just that part. And we had people, for example, one of Yoel's students who was studying in the Jerusalem Academy of Music, he told Yoel, wow, listen, I was walking out of one of the classes and I heard people talking about your method. And that's the power of having a method, is people speak. And especially as you work with transformation, when you create a transformation for a person, that person speaks up. And if you work with women, Daria always says, women speak even more. Yeah. If you're good at what you do, you get shared, and people will join your method even more.
Yeah, this is a beautiful story of Anael, who came to us, and I really loved it because she came and she had done bro marketing. She was part of a coaching program. She said, I'm stuck, I'm procrastinating, I don't want to do this. And she had gone from corporate into living in Thailand and in Koh Phangan, in Bali, developing all this somatic work and working on herself, spirituality, tantra, feminine embodiment. And she started doing women's circles. And she was just not seeing how can she actually combine her different worlds. And as we looked into that deeper, we realized that if we she was coming from corporate, so she had a lot of understanding of what it meant to be in corporate and not being embodied, and now she was living in another world. So what we did, we combined those two worlds, and we combined giving this feminine leadership processes that she gone through in a simple 3-shift process that she created that became a 3-month group coaching program. And then she offered her 3-shift workshop based on those 3 pillars. And in the first workshop, she sold 1,500. She never sold that much. She was really stuck with her first clients when she came to us. She was saying, it's not possible. I don't know how to do this. And there were many things we did on the mindset level. We also work a lot with the mindset about identity and how to unlock being worthy going back and how not to go back to where you were, but bringing back the lessons to the world where people really need this. And when she understood that actually I can be the messenger, I can go back and I can give this message that I've gone through, and it clicked in her mind, and now she's on the roll. And she went from not even doing one-on-one coaching programs. She jumped right from basically struggling with her first clients to straight to group coaching program. And now she's in this process. So it's such a beautiful journey. And I would like to, before we continue, what has been helpful so far before we go to the second shift? Can you share in the chat? Do you already have a method? Do you want to share a bit more about your outcome, your transformation? Perhaps we can even do a small share for all of you. Feel free to share. Maybe you're realizing something about your own.
Where are you going? What's being opened now in your understanding, in your excitement?
And if you have any questions, you can also add that. Good to see you, Camille.
A small method, but not big enough. Beautiful.
Amazing. We are here to expand your vision. One part of our superpowers is that we really see big. Even if we are taking step by step, we see the bigger picture. I already have a method, the love magnet formula, based on countless love manifestation stories I've analyzed. Oh, I love it, Rosie. Wonderful. Very cool. So you're ready to go to groups, Rosie. I am in that process. Beautiful.
Amazing.
Yeah, we're in a good space. If you already have done that individually, it's so beautiful to then create a group coaching experience because you get so much value of sharing with others. See that they're writing still.
This is writing, right?
I have a method, but looking to consolidate through one-on-one work before groups. Beautiful. Yes. Very good. Okay. I have made a 30-day method to take women into passion and pleasure. Would love to scale. Amazing.
Amazing.
Wonderful. Very good. Okay, so let's continue. Let's jump right into the second part, and feel free to put questions inside as well. Anything you want, we'll be able to go deeper.
Annalise, the foundation of my work is teaching someone else's method. I add my own spin to it, but the foundation is okay. So that's a common thing, people working with someone else's method, and you can always back it up. You can always say, hey, I'm using parts of that, or I'm trained in that, but you will always be someone else's messenger this way. And then there's the point of when you want to scale, when you want to have your own thing, to step up and to say, okay, it's the time to start doing my own thing. And that's very empowering. So I'm excited for you for that.
Amazing.
Okay.
Let's get to the next part.
So the second shift that I want you to think of and that I want you to understand is how to stop working with social media, how to stop using posts and using energy that doesn't really stay in time, and what to do instead. So I want you to meet Guaki the avocado. This is my first ever business that I started on Amazon. And I found this beautiful, cute avocado toy And I called him the Guaki, the avocado. I drew this box, and I had 1,000 of those avocados shipped from China to United States to Amazon. And I was so excited. And the shipment process and the creation process cost a lot of money and a lot of preparation. And I was sitting and waiting for the avocados to reach the States and to reach Amazon's warehouses. And I used Fiverr professionals to create the landing page on Amazon, and everything was ready and set. And I quit my job. And one day I woke up and I saw an email from Amazon, and I was so excited. And I opened it and I saw this email, and it said, "Notice, policy warning. We're contacting you before we receive a report of copyright infringement from the..." And apparently I couldn't sell the avocados because they were too similar to another product that they were selling on Amazon. And that company managed to trick something in the system so no one could sell any plush toy of looking like an avocado. And I was startled and I was shocked. And also in that moment, I realized that this is one of the biggest gifts that I received. That not being on Amazon, not being in a platform where I don't manage the rules, where I am not the boss, but being on someone else's platform eventually is like being a hitchhiker. It's like standing on the side of the road, lifting your thumb, someone picks you up, maybe goes really fast and you're really excited, but eventually, if you open a clementine and they don't like that smell, they will very politely show you the door and put you off down. And another story is Daria's Facebook account, which she worked for on for 11 years with a maximum of 5,000 friends and then 2,500 followers more in content and everything, in lives and lives. And with losing the phone and losing the two-factor authentication and trying to restore the account through all of the means of contacting Facebook's unhelpful help, the account was lost. And I'm sure you all heard stories of TikTok accounts being banned and Instagram accounts being blocked for good reasons, for bad reasons, for unknown reasons.
Yeah.
And the conclusion here is don't build your business on someone else's platform. Don't build your security, your freedom, your life on something that you don't have the full control of.
And I know that both Camille and Elin works with sexuality and tantra, and many of our members have had those issues before coming to us, that they were banned or they could not, they were, I don't know how we call shadowed, they could not really share their content because it's not considered, they were, some of our members were considered as sex workers, and they were sharing about sexuality and relating. And so it's also making sure that on one way that you can be fully expressed, that you can really allow yourself to not limit and not be censored in what you want to say. The secondly is it's okay if you have an account, you can have a social media account, but what would happen to your business if your account got shut down? What will happen to your leads? What will happen to your contacts? This is what we are talking about, feeling that you actually have the nervous system calmed, because you know that no matter what happens on those accounts, you have other ways to communicate with your people.
So what's the problem with social media specifically? There are 100 million posts on Instagram every day. And you are posting, hoping to compete with very big companies with very large budgets for people cutting content and repurposing and reposting and doing stories and managing that. And as a coach who doesn't pay someone to do that, who doesn't have the systems to schedule and scale that, it's a lost cause. It's a bit like the Indians who were fighting with a bow and arrow against invaders coming with machine guns. It's just not possible. And as we said, nothing is yours. You are using a platform. You're using someone else's platform. And now we have a new game player here with AI and automation. So companies that are more tech-oriented can catch so much more of the limited attention of your users. And it really becomes frustrating to try and post and get people to see your posts. Now, the algorithm, the way it's built is it's a win-lose game. You are never going to be able to post, even if the posts are starting to work consistently without changing, because the algorithm works in a way that you have to follow what is going on constantly. And for me, the worst thing was when I was posting on social media and when I was playing that game, I constantly fell into this addiction of checking my phone, into this addiction of the dopamine of who liked my post or who commented, or just finding myself, maybe not every day. Some days I managed to stay strong and to have the willpower and not to scroll on social media, but other days I didn't. And eventually, every day of fighting that battle against this addiction of social media is a day that I lost some of my energy in creating my business, in being creative, in going to the river and writing a new concept. So what do we do instead? Instead of social, instead of followers, I want you to start thinking in terms of community, in terms of people who are in your world and are a community, which means it's either a group of people who can communicate with each other on from Telegram, WhatsApp, Facebook group, Circle group, Slack, Discord, school, or different other solutions that are there. And more important than that is have a list of emails, which are your community. Have people's emails, have people's phone numbers, so no one holds you back from contacting them. No one holds you back from, if you are actually giving them value, if you're actually serving them in the way that is interesting, they will see it, even if they're not scrolling at this moment. And they will see it with much more attention. And the way to build around this is with this 3-shift workshop, which is once you have your method, once you have your 3 shifts of a method, creating a workshop around that.
For that community. So as you are able to connect the people that are in your ideal target audience, and you can actually talk with them directly. You can send them an email, you can call them, you can WhatsApp, there's so many things that you can do. You can have a conversation. The beauty is that you can actually speak with them. Right now with social media, they're starting to block accounts who are speaking too much. So you can really get blocked. This is happening in the last weeks. So if you are used to having those conversations on social media, there's a big risk that they will say that you cannot send so many messages. So you want to be able to talk with people. You want to be able to speak with your community, to talk with people in as much as you want, and then offer them to go deeper, offer them to have value with you, to explore something, not getting on the call with you, but actually saying, hey, come and listen. This is something that I think can be really useful for you.
Now, the magic of a workshop goes both ways. We're talking of when I have someone's email, if I respect them and I send beautiful content that is actually valuable for them and they don't unsubscribe from me by being too spammy, I have their attention, and I have their attention not for a moment, but I have their attention for weeks and months and years. So if we flip it around and we think, okay, what if I do a workshop in order to get people's contacts? What if I do a workshop for someone who already has a community? What if I go and give a workshop at a convention or at a retreat center? Or what if I talk to a yoga center and I say, or a co-work space, and I say, hey, I'm going to give a workshop to your audience. And every person who arrives at the workshop gives me their email and starts gaining from my content and starts getting this beautiful thought of slow-paced attention, high attention content, magic starts to happen. And
just to give you, as when we talk about where to give the workshop, we just counted for ourselves. We looked at numbers. We did 4 workshops, 4 live workshops for smaller audiences that were hyper targeted, qualified audiences, where we did not sell anything in the end, to 2 of our partners, and we collected 138,000 euros in the last 8 months from those 4 workshops. And this is what we teach our clients, to really work with the ecosystem of where is my community already and where can I bring my workshop? Who can be my strategic partner in this way? It's not the only way we generate traffic, but it's one of the ways we teach, because it's so powerful. You don't need to be in front of everyone. You need to be in front of the right audience. And usually we call this invisible stages, because they exist within the masterminds, in festivals, in conferences, but they are maybe not very big. But you don't need a big audience. You need the right people in the room. So it's super, super powerful.
Now, what you do in the workshop is teaching the strategy, teaching the higher level, teaching what will help people to be converted to believing in your method, to believing that they can actually do it. Because many times people come to your workshop and it's not that they don't believe in you, is they don't believe in themselves. Can you relate to that? Can you relate that there are people who they can do it, but they don't know they can do it? And there is almost as if I'm talking a different language than the person. And what I see many coaches do and many workshops is they start teaching the tactics, because you want to teach, you want to share your knowledge, you want to get people results. And you start teaching the small details and the tactics, or you start giving the techniques and you start doing the micro, and that hurts you and that hurts them, because then their head is started to be occupied by the micro and by the small tactics, and they don't see the bigger picture. And at the end of the workshop, they tell you, okay, great, thank you. I have now enough work to do for the next 6 months. Let's talk then. Can you relate to that feeling of wanting to teach too much and wanting to overgive, and then eventually feeling exhausted, tired, and the person says, wow, that was amazing, thank you, bye. Yeah, give me a hands up if you can relate to that feeling. See, you guys are writing rigorously. Beautiful. And then in the workshop, what is important to do is to invite people to the next step. There are really specific ways on how to do it. So maybe even 90 or 95% of the people in the workshop will actually book a call with you, will actually go to the next step. And when it's done, they saw that you can teach them not the tactics, not the micro, but you can convert them from feeling stuck, from feeling, I've tried it all before. Really, I've been there. I worked with the coaches. I've done everything. What do you have to tell me, actually, to believe that they can do it? And then you invite them to go deeper with you. And that's where the magic starts to happen.
And I want to add a thing here. This is something really important. I think that somehow in the process, maybe you've heard that before, the client is always right. If you worked in industry of restoration or hotels, the client's always right, no matter how complaining they are, no matter how much they are not coachable. I'm here because I'm here to serve the client. And this is not what we believe. This is why we choose our clients. And this is what we tell our clients as well. You're going to spend maybe more time with this person than with your partner. You're going to spend more time creating a beautiful transformation. And if you do group coaching programs, if one person is really annoying, doesn't want to do anything, constantly complaining, you're going to have a really bad vibe. So this is why you have to choose each other. We choose our clients based on values that we share together. And this is what we want to invite you to. So selling something directly from a workshop without knowing if you actually want to work with them, it's a big risk also for you. So I want to really insist on the empowering part of you and co-leadership. You're choosing each other. We are choosing to walk this path together. We are both in leadership. You have a leadership skill in one thing. We have a leadership skill in another thing. We are here to choose each other because we want to walk together for 3 months, for 4 months, for maybe a year. It's not that the client is always choosing you and you're hoping they were going to choose you. So it's really about stepping into a co-leadership here. So this is why we want to invite to the next step where we actually, it's a fit conversation. It's not about selling someone something. We want to look at, can we even help you? Is this really even a fit? Are we the right person for you? Are you the right person for us? Because then you can create the best results for your client. Let me know in the chat if this is resonating for you and what is the most valuable so far about this conversation. Just share a bit, one sentence. What are you taking away so far?
See some thinking minds here.
Me, you're so sweet.
I love
Yeah, so fun. Teaching strategy, not tactics. Beautiful, beautiful.
Amazing. All right.
Okay.
So
this is very fun. So maybe you know about, who here knows about Mind Valley University in Estonia? Yeah. So when I came to one of the first ones, I had no experience with, I did some workshops, but I did a lot of workshops, but I didn't really know what I was doing. But when I created my method, when I understood what there's a process I can take people through, first of all, I had so much more people come into my workshops. I think every room was so full that we actually didn't have space to even make a circle all together. And I was, before going to Mind Valley, I was mostly doing one-on-one coaching, and I was earning around, I would say, 2,000 to 3,000 euros per month. That was my average. In some months, were very tough, and I could barely pay my rent. This was in 2016. I was really up and down because sometimes I had clients coming in, sometimes I didn't have. I tried to do an online course. It was too much marketing. I was just feeling really stuck in what I was doing. And then when I started working with workshops and bringing workshops, and after that, offering an invitation, in 1 month, in August 2016, I sold for 18,000 euros without a landing page. And how I sold it was on the paper. I literally made an invitation. I was sitting in a cafe. I was writing on a napkin. I had no paper and pen because I wasn't planning to sell. I was just guiding. And the person said, how can I work with you? And I had one person after another. And this was my first group coaching program that I started. I was selling it at 3,000 euros per person. And for me, it was a shock because I literally went from 3,000 euros per month to 18,000 in a month. And it didn't feel like it was actually possible. And especially with group coaching program, what happened was that I started to work 2 days per week. Before, I was working constantly. Clients were canceling. I was so stressed financially that I was accepting any conditions. And now suddenly I'm working 2 days per week. I'm earning enough money. So now I'm questioning myself, what excuses do I have to actually do what I want? Now that I have the money and the time, there's no excuses not to travel, to invest in myself, to do things. It really shifted my reality. This is why I really love, I'm so passionate about this method.
Yeah, let's talk about Natalie, she's a psychologist, therapist, and with working with us, she started to consolidate her method. She started to see how she can put her method in a workshop. And part of what I love about putting the method in a workshop is that once I have a 3-shift method, just like what you're watching now, I know my 3 shifts. So once I have my 3 shifts, I know my method. So I can confidently create a group program about it. When I don't know my 3 shifts, when I don't know the 3 areas where I am shifting people's beliefs or where I'm helping people to shift something, everything is chaos. And Natalie, at a certain point, felt confident enough to present her workshop And in her first workshop, she got a 2,000 euros. 2,222 was her price. Oh no. 2,222 was her price for her group program. And she was so excited because she never sold at this price range. She always worked with, I think, 65 to 70 euros per hour sessions.
And this was with the partner workshop. So she didn't have her audience in her audience yet. She was working with another audience before, and she offered the partner workshop. I think she had basically 2 people coming to her first workshop, if I remember right. Don't quote me on this, but it was a very small group. And she had 2 calls, and then 1 person bought from her, wanting to work with her. It was extremely elegant and simple and beautiful, and it's very exciting, especially because it's a group coaching program, so she can now scale it.
All right, let's go into the last and third and last shift of how to actually create scale in your business. How can you make the transition from hustle to being able to let go and the business continues without you? So the problems that many coaches have, and when I say many, is 99.999% of the coaches that come to me for seeing what they're doing wrong, is too many offers, too many directions. Because people come to you and they want to work with you, and maybe it's not exactly what you're doing, or maybe you don't exactly know what you're doing. So to start with, you're attracting the wrong people. And then you say, okay, I have those people. Let me create a course for them. Okay, I have those people. Let me create this offer. Okay, I want to do some physical. Let me do a 2-day retreat. Let me do a program launch next month. Okay, I'm excited. I'm going to launch my next program. And then it becomes a hustle machine where the machine doesn't produce cash or safety or security or impact on the other side, but it's more you running inside the machine, hustling and attempting to build something and working really hard on all of those different offers. The next thing is there's no strategy. There's no way of, if I come to you and I ask, okay, how are you gonna be in 3 years from now in a stable, beautiful, with business, with support coaches, with your method? And many coaches just don't know how to build that in a strategic way. Many coaches feel like, okay, what might work for me is posting more right now, or maybe I will build an app, or maybe I will. And this lack of strategy, what it mainly creates is stress. What it mainly creates is a lot of head work, a lot of mind work, a lot of trying to figure out, trying to find solutions, trying to build ideas. And when I don't know where I'm going, I simply go in circles. They had a test one time, research, where they put people in a very dense forest and they told them to start walking. And they saw that the people, when they didn't have a compass, they walked in circles naturally. And I don't know if you know how it feels when you navigate a city and you don't have a map or something like that. And sometimes you just find yourself again in the starting point. And that's what happens when you don't have a direction. And the next thing that happens many times that eliminates the ability to let go and eliminates the ability to scale is trying to sell the tools, trying to sell either someone else's method or the tools that I'm using. So if I'm selling a breathwork session, if I'm selling yoga, if I'm selling even a singing lesson, I'm selling the tool. I'm not selling the transformation. We talked about that before, but that really comes in hindering the scale, hindering the forward moving and being able to let go and let the business take off.
And many times we have members coming who are selling Tantra. They're selling, let's say, hypnotherapy, or they're selling psychology session or therapy, any type of therapy sessions. And the tool, they fell in love with the tool and they know it's helpful. But for the client, it means almost nothing because they don't really understand what it actually means. That's why they come to you.
Now, to shift that is to decide to be a problem solver. And many times we don't really enjoy speaking about problems because we love to keep things in the positive and to talk to people in a more soft way and to be more in the let's encourage people, let's go towards desire. But eventually, every desire person has comes from some form of problem that they are facing. Every moving forwards comes because I don't want to move backwards. And once you identify that problem that you're solving and you start zeroing down on that problem, you start to have more and more resources, more and more experience, more and more case studies, more and more confidence, and your name starts to become related to that problem that you're solving. And that is where the magic starts to happen. The next thing to shift that is to think of your business as your garden, is to think of, and I'll tell you a little story here. When I was young, I was in an anthroposophic Waldorf school. I don't know if you know this type of education in Israel. And we had, my favorite class was gardening class. And it's not so popular in many schools, but that was super fun. We went to a area where there was soil and gardening tools, and each one of the students had a 2-meter little garden piece. And every Tuesday or Wednesday, we went to that garden piece and we took out the weeds and we put in new plants and we watered them. And we started seeing things grow and we started seeing more and more excitement. Like we were more excited because we were excited to bring home the fruits and the vegetables and the stuff that we grew there. And in your business is just the same. Your business is like a garden. The difference here, the big difference is that your business doesn't have that 2-meter limit. The garden of your business is infinite, is endless. So every piece of energy that you invest in your business in a smart way, in a strategic way, simply not only stays, but grows. You plant seeds that grow. You put in energy that moves things forwards. And I'll give you one example. The difference between putting up a post on Facebook and writing an email that will be part of an automation sequence when someone enters my world. On the first side, I might get people to my workshop, or I might get people to a call, or I might get people to comment. On the second one, every person from now on, forever, who enters my world will receive that piece of email, will receive that video or that content or that inspiration. Every person. So it's as if I wrote this email and increased my business and increased my impact. And every action that you do in your business, I want you to start thinking of that. And when Daria and I started working together, and I came from the automation systems, she calls me an automation bear. I came from everything needs to be automated, systematized. And Daria came from, but I love talking to people, but everything should be more handpicked. And we found a way how to create care at scale.
Yeah.
And that's where the magic happens.
And one thing about the delivery where I felt frustrated was that I've been coaching and consulting in more than 10 years now, and there's so much value that I can give. And I was giving one-on-one sessions and hourly, not hourly, but VIP coaching programs one-on-one. And I felt so frustrated when the sessions were great that it wasn't for everyone. It was for that person. So I wasn't able to say, hey, now you can take this because it's in a one-on-one confidential call. And now other people can actually get the same impact. And now that we have a group program, we recorded something really beautiful this morning. We took the time to create something around VIP offers. We really created a beautiful presentation for our members. And now it's going to stay. Any other person that will come into our world from now on will have lots of hours. We created a whole vault of beautiful content that now is useful, and someone can just binge watch it all weekend if they want. They can find anything that they need in the vault. And we take the time every week to add one thing. Every time we add one new live training, something that we are inspired to add that is valuable. And it's incredibly satisfactory for me that I feel now I finally had a brain dump and I said, okay, I'm gonna just give everything in this session about this topic that I've been collecting for 10 years. Oh, now I can breathe, because if tomorrow I'm not here anymore, like someone can actually use it. That's how I feel. It's like this question of legacy and impact. That's been my dream for many years. Let us know if if you can resonate with this feeling of wanting to be able to leave more impact. And when you have your best methods, best tools, best teachings, and they're only getting in front of one-on-one person when you're doing a Zoom call or in-person retreat or something like that. It's just such a beautiful feeling.
Now, the problem that Daria had when we met was coaching the same things or teaching or being the instructor for people in one-on-one settings or in small group settings, but not really taking the time to structure the knowledge and not really take the time to see how that structured knowledge is within a bigger context of a method. And she was really tired, really frustrated from repeating herself. And I cannot tell you how many times I heard her saying, wow, I'm so tired of repeating myself. I cannot teach this anymore. And I see many coaches having exactly that problem of teaching, getting tired, feeling like about to burn out, and then I'm going to shift to a different thing because I'm tired and burnt out. And then I teach, getting tired, burnt out, teaching in the next thing, and nothing stays behind me. Can you relate? Give me a thumbs up. Give me a yes, a head
Especially
nod.
for the ones who've been in the coaching world for many years. Oh, so beautiful, Lilin. Beautiful
amazing.
to hear. Yes.
Thumbs up.
It's usually, it always happens at some point when you just feel, I don't want to do this same teaching again, not one more time. And it's valuable and that it's a big foundation of what you're doing.
Okay. So the next part, and we don't have a lot of time to go into it, but is to, once you have this method, once you have this workshop, and you invite people from the workshop to talk to you, is to create an offer that they cannot refuse, is to create an offer that is so good, that is so well thought of, that is talking about the journey, talking about the transformation, and they just can't say no to. And there are ways to create offers so people feel confident to work with you, people feel confident in the results. And there are ways to make those offers in a way that every time you present the offer, you learn something and you tweak. There are ways to make those offers in a way that you can sell longer containers with more confidence from the person coming in, with more excitement from them to go through the transformation, and with more, and that's the most important thing, more commitment from the person to go through the journey and to actually do what you tell them to do. Because you can work with a person for 3 months who is not so sold or not so excited or not so understanding the depth of the problem and how beautiful is your solution. So they'll come, okay, let's go. Okay. And then you feel like, yeah, why are they not doing the work? Like, why are they self-sabotaging? And many times it comes from not having a powerful enough offer. Let's talk about Luna.
Luna when she came to us, she was working in the Croatian market and she has a yoga studio and she's also a singer. So she's part of a band and she loves singing. She loves everything that is voice. And there's a whole limiting belief about, in my market, I cannot work with higher pricing. My clients will not really, I don't have people who can actually afford 1,500 for a group program. And what we did is that we combined her method of her mindfulness practices, her embodiment that she's been doing for so many years with her voice activation, how much voice was important for her. And that became a power. She mostly works with women. She started helping women now with unleashing their voice and really stepping into their power with their voice. There's a whole thing about the somatic and combining the yogic practices with the voice and accessing your power. And with that messaging, she created her first workshop, and she has been on the roll now. She's done 4 workshops. This, after the 2 first workshops, she sold 4,500 euros for group programs. And she was really struggling with a one-on-one session at 35 euros per hour. And it's incredible to see someone that is so passionate and so excited to bring her teachings and to combine her 2 worlds that were both are important to her, but she didn't manage until now to do that. And to see that she now can start to relax and start to see the path of, okay, I don't need to do all of that. And now she's in the process of taking off anything that is not what she really loves doing, which is so beautiful.
Okay, let's give the stage to you for any questions you might have. Feel free to write in the chat. I saw some questions coming up during the session, and we've covered a lot of things. So please write in the chat any questions that you have, any things that come up, any thoughts, or anything that is exciting for you, anything that is mind-blowing for you here. So Rosie, what if you don't yet have success stories to talk about in your workshop? Great question. So Luna had 0 success stories, and she sold in 2 workshops 3 spots for 1,500. The thing is, and this program of the $1 Million Workshop is also a relatively new program. So the other participants in the program, we had this exact presentation, but without the case studies, without the success stories, and they still bought. The thing is, once you create a belief in the person that they can do it, once you break their limiting belief about the external circumstances or about the internal things that hold them back, and once you position yourself as the leader, showing them that you know what you're talking about, they will be excited to talk to you. And then there are ways in how you present the offer to create a sense of security in them. So they are, wow, let's go.
And also tell your stories, Rosie, because you are also a case study. You are, in the sense that you have gone through the transformation. Most certainly somewhere in the journey, you needed your own medicine, your own tools. So there are many stories that you can link to your own method where you can share how you went through that process.
I see Camille says, it feels exciting and scary. Good. That's beautiful.
Yes,
amazing.
That's a good space to be in. Any other questions? We are here for another 5-10 minutes with you. Feel free to ask, feel free to share.
Ellen says, do you have a particular technique or platform or tool do you recommend for delivering your workshop? I love using Zoom. I love the simplicity of Zoom, of having a Zoom meeting with, after COVID, everyone knows Zoom. We tried GoToWebinar, we tried doing on Circle, we tried different things, and Zoom seems really simple. And I also love having the faces of the people that I can talk to. Now let's remember that there's 2 options. There's doing the workshop online, but even better for conversion is doing the workshops in person sometimes. So that can be also super fun and super exciting. Rosie, thank you. What's the best way to find strategic partners or other places to present the workshop? I have no idea where to find a single spiritual woman looking for love. That's a great question. The good thing is that many spiritual women are single, and all single women at a certain point are looking for love. The thing is, you don't have to find a place where they are all looking for love, but you can give the workshop title in a way that whoever is looking for love will for sure come to that workshop. So for instance, if you work with a luxurious yoga studio in your area, and you go to them and you say, hey, I'm going to give a workshop to your audience about finding love as a woman in 2024, or whatever, however you structure that workshop, they will come and they will be excited because that gives extra value for their work, for their audience. Or for example, co-work spaces were a bit more, some co-work spaces, for instance, offer ice baths, right? Some co-work spaces offer additional spiritually related events. So those can be great for collaboration. There are many ways. Don't have time to go all in right now into this, but yeah. Hope this
And
is
also
helpful.
ask the women, where the women that you really want to work with, ask them, where do you hang out? What type of events do you go to? What type of podcasts do you listen to? What type of retreats do you go to? Who do you follow on social media? What are the books that you're reading? That get a feeling of the ecosystem, so you can understand of what is the world that they live in, what do they watch, listen, where do they hang out, what courses do they buy, and then start to look at partnership with those communities. And is asking, how do you recommend developing your main offer? Oh, there's so much to say about it. I think the best is to really look at your individual space. I would say the way we will do it together, Ellen, is we're gonna look at your different tools, your different experiences, who you love working with the most, and finding that ikigai of what are you really good at, who do you really want to work with, and who is actually willing to invest a premium price and high ticket price for this solution. And based on that, we create the first step that they will go through. So we will create an entrance offer, a high ticket entrance offer that will take them through the first step that is very much aligned and clear. So it's a short answer, but I would say the closest to that will be in the ikigai, where we combine the different areas so we create the best offer. Okay, so if we have 3 minutes left, and we wanna just finish with this. As we've said in the beginning, we wanted to offer you to go deeper into these different topics that we talked about today. So this is an invitation to a call where we can deepening the 3 shifts together, where we can talk about these different things. And of course, we cannot cover everything in what we do in 3 months program with our members, but we can cover a bit more individually on what you need in the call. And the call is very short. It's a 15-minute call, which we're just gonna, first of all, see if we can help you. If we cannot help you, if we are not the match, we were not gonna even go into creating a strategy together. So it's really more a get to know each other call, a quick one. And based on that, we're gonna create another session where we can go deeper and really create a roadmap for you to create this method for you. So we will open this up and we'll just put the link in the chat. And what you can do is that,
let me just clarify a little bit. So this call is, we're going to have a 15 minutes call. And if we see we can help you, we're going to schedule a 1-hour call to go deep into seeing your business, seeing where you are and how you can elevate the most from your current situation. What is the bottleneck that is holding you back at the moment? What are the low-hanging fruits in your business? And the call is for you. So you're going to be on the driver's seat and you are going to be able to see what you need at this point. Super useful call, super exciting, and can really change the way that the next year will look for you in your business. In and out, some kids here, I would love to do a call with you. Great. So we're going to publish the call link in the chat right now. And for those who need to go, we will email you the invitation with a call link. We have a few spots every week for the call. Do we have this here? No. Let's stop the share. Let's find it.
great,
Thank you, Ellen. Yeah. Go take care of them.
Yeah, and it's always start with getting a good idea of how you can implement this in your specific business. And some of the things we talk about here that you shared, we will be able to go deeper and have a conversation on those topics. So you can talk to you later, Elin. Yes, beautiful. So happy to see you here. And Annalisa too. Okay.
We still have anyone? Yeah, okay. Come on, where is it? Ah, here it is.
Yeah, Camille, we talk with you tomorrow. Hi, so gonna have a beautiful call. Yes. Okay, Elin and Annalise, you can
Here we
book in a
go.
call
Yeah.
to chat a bit more so we can have a better look on your business. It's going to be very good for you and to get someone to really see what you can do with this method.
Yeah. Thank you guys for your time, for staying till the end. I hope we didn't overwhelm you with a little too much information here and that you feel also excited of actually creating a solid business and being able to scale. And we're going to see you on the calls. Usually all the people on the calls on this workshop book a call with us. We're very excited to see you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye. Take care.